So you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So the title says be smart. So why this word? It's because like I've been repeating this since yesterday. Like people tend to take the longer routes or like to get a work done. They always prefer to go a long way, or maybe like they just Google stuff and then like they don't know the exact way like how to proceed. But then what people do is like they just start coding directly even without thinking. So like that shouldn't be the way you proceed with things. Like you should first analyze the situation, what it is. Like maybe it's a project. So you then analyze what is, break the project down into multiple modules. Everyone speak about modular programming. Like the basic concept of why OOPS, object oriented programming, came into existence was to bring modularity to the code. So what then comes along with modularity is that when you have multiple pieces of code for, let's take an example, give an example of a project for a website. Anyone?
Take e-commerce most common.
Okay, yeah, e-commerce, very famous. Amazon, Flipkart, everything is going there. So if we okay, for Amazon, Flipkart are like extremely too big projects to be taken. Let's take a minimal version of a e-commerce site. So there are the multiple modules that will come into existence. In that would be one would be your product brochure. You have to display all your products, whatever you have on the site. Another module would be the payment systems. Like you need to integrate a payment method so that people can pay for their product, what they are buying. Another one would be a customer support, a chat or a contact, maybe a form, anything, any sort of customer this. Then there will be a dashboard for managing your own account. Like I should know what all products I have brought over the history of all my orders. And then the options like to replace it, I want to cancel my order, know the status of the order, when it will be delivered, and many things like that. So see, so I am breaking down the whole big website into small parts. So this helps you a lot. So like even if you're working in a team, let's say you have a team of 5 people and you 5 people are working together on one project to make a website. So then if you're breaking down this into modules, you can assign each module to different person to work on. Or maybe you can also break it down into aspects like front end, back end, database. So one person will look on the front end part if you have a lesser team. Or if you have a bigger team, you can, again, it's multiple ways. Like you can assign multiple person to front end, multiple person for back end, multiple person to design the database, and so on. So like always think in a modular way. Like, so what is the advantage of using modularity is that once you make something, and if you want to make some changes to the part, like you want to update it, or maybe you have to add a new feature to it, then this will help. If it is modules, then it's simple. I am just adding one more module to my existing modules. So that would be easier. But if your project was not made on a modular design and it is just a large chunk of code that is existing, then to find a certain part from that or to make changes to certain part, you will struggle a lot to find where it is actually. Like even yesterday I told you, like debugging is a very difficult part. So like that's the reason, like it will be very difficult for you to understand where you went wrong in that big piece of code. So if it was in parts of modules, like you split everything up into different modules, then it is very easy to find out. Like you from seeing the website output, you will understand, okay, ye part mein problem hai, I want to change this part. Then it's very easy. You just go to that module ka code. Then the data from which you are searching would be much lesser. So that will help you to easily find out what the issue is and how to solve it. Okay, this is one thing that you should always keep in mind. And also, Hayden, do you want to add anything into this?
If anybody knows out your agile development, you must have realized that the first 2 steps of agile is analyze the requirements, then start analyzing what the design will be, and then you start the development process. And those are like the longest 2 periods of agile development. So if anyone sees the agile graph, you'll see like 1 and 2 are given like the highest importance, and then comes the development, testing, deployment, and then the review. So if like that also is thought and made, right? And so many companies follow agile right now. So that's why the main thing of that is like you don't make mistakes, you don't end up screwing up in a project in such a way. Like you will do something, a project which was not required at the end, like, and you unnecessarily wasted your time. You're just going to delete all of the code. You will rewrite it anyways again. So rather you think about it, you prepare, and then you start.
Yeah, and also like many of you must have worked on projects, like you guys also share your experience, like how it is when you have to change something that you have already built. How difficult is it to do from your project ka view? How difficult have you found it to be when like you already made a piece of code and now you want to do a change to it? How difficult do you found that part to be?
I think Mansi also has made this mistake.
I do always have to change.
Yeah.
You know, guys, one thing I realized now that whenever we do any projects, we randomly like start doing projects, no? But like
Yeah.
this time I was working with Kecho and Hidden. So what they did, I like their approach. I would like to share. So what they do is they make a to-do list and they note down everything.
Yeah, Microsoft To Do is an amazing
Oh
app.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we use
Microsoft To Do.
Microsoft To Do, and it is very amazing. Like you note down every module and what all you need to do. So it's very helpful.
And you can assign it to people, like you do this task, and you can like tell like, yeah, like I'm working on this currently, so you don't touch this part of code. So even your Git merges like become easier. So it's super cool that way. I think gradually we've been using To Do from Sem 2, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that app is amazing. You should install it.
exactly. You should always go for some smart ways to like make your work easy. Also GitHub. GitHub is an amazing tool that you should do to collab. Like I have seen people in my class doing this, that they write the piece of code, then they take the zip file and they send it to their friend. The friend edits the zip file. Again, they make it a zip. They again send it back. This is such a lengthy process to do. And like on this way where you are sending and receiving, there is loss of data that is happening. Like something may go wrong somewhere. You may miss a file. You may forget to save the file, or the
Plus
first.
the best thing of Git is in case you screw up, you already have a backup.
Yes, you have the whole history. Like, okay, my last version of the code was running better. I screwed up somewhere in the newer version of the code. I always have the choice to go back to the older code. I can see each and every word where I have misplaced something or where I have went wrong and go correct the changes to make my app working again. So when the team of people who are collaborating on the project is big, like, okay, within 2% you may say ki, "Arey yaar, sending zip file is much easier for me." But even in a 2% team, I find using it a much more easier. I don't
Yeah,
like
same.
the one issue that happens in the zip file is that you send and receive the zip file. There are multiple copies being generated, okay, and then you have to keep saving all the file different names. You have to say you'll name the first one version 1, next version 2, next version 3, and then like you have the piece of code is getting increased. Then maybe you misplace some file, then you have to find that file, or maybe while copying you copy the wrong file, the wrong version of the code, then the newer version get replaced, you lose all your work. So ऐसा चीजें, these things may happen. So इसलिए never take risk of losing your code. Like if you lose one piece of code, then you only will know how much hard work had gone into that code. To rewrite that code will be too hectic for you.
You remember for this Python submission, Grejo? I was scared the code is gone, and then luckily GitHub it was there, and we could just
Yeah.
clone it.
You can
Like, okay, I lost maybe 1 or 2 functions which I made added extra, but it's okay. I can just add them again instead of rewriting the entire code.
exact. It's like a free unlimited cloud storage available for your code.
Yeah.
Use that feature that they are giving it for free. So then use it. And like there is also a very useful tool. It's called as GitHub Education Pack. I'll show
Yeah.
you guys what that is. Okay. GitHub Education Pack. You can see the Google search now.
Yeah.
So what is the advantage of this is this I came to know recently, like I think 5-6 months ago, right? Just before
start.
no, during the lockdown itself, I think.
No, you applied before that, and then during the
Yeah,
lockdown you got
just
it.
almost during the start of the lockdown. So see the offers that you get, the list is so big that you can just keep scrolling down and it never end. Okay, but like all may not be useful. Like I once suggested Mansi about this, and she's like, "यार मेरा तो इसका use नहीं है." I told her one thing: you would use it when you start doing things. Okay, you experiment with your things, then these things will be used. For example, Canva, we told yesterday, it's one of the easiest and tool to do designing. So this gives you a Canva Pro feature, which adds a lot of features to it. Namecheap is a domain provider hosting. AWS Educate is a site which teaches you AWS. Like they give you, like usually if you want to experiment on AWS, you have to first put your credit card details, buy a cloud, then always be sure that you're using the free tier things. If you don't use a free tier thing and you end up using some of the paid version, you buy instance, make a bucket that is paid, and then then the bill
Yeah, you
starts.
get charged for it. Yeah.
You get started. You won't even know the billing is being done. After the 2-3 months, when you go back to AWS to see something, you will see a huge
$1,000.
bill that is billed on you.
Yeah.
So that to avoid that, these things help you. So what these people do is they give you a temporary login detail for your course. So then in that they won't charge you. It won't be billed. Like you can use the free. You can use
you
the
can use
paid
instant.
versions also. Still, it
Yeah.
won't charge you for anything. So that advantage you get in this if you use such tools. So like you want to learn new things, then this will help. You'll get a GitHub Pro account. That is, I don't know, like for us, it won't be much of a
I
useful.
think it increases number of commits, I think. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
but the free version ka commit limit is also quite high. Like
Yeah.
like if you are working in companies and all, then the commit limits are very high. So then if you want this will give you a pro access to it. Then there are much more. You can see Azure, JetBrains, Unity Pro, DigitalOcean, Bootstrap, lot are the Heroku, much more. All big famous companies, MongoDB, TestMail, Atom. Atom is free anyways. Typeform, GitHub Desktop, IconSet, see Replit. Adam was selling it yesterday.
Yeah.
And
I
then
have the account on that.
yeah, you can go and search on this. The URL is just Google for GitHub Education Pack. You can see the benefits and you can apply for this. The only thing you need to have is a email ID in the college domain.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, like for DBIT, they don't have such a this. So then you can go to the form and then they will ask you to upload your ID card. Yeah, so you have to put a photo of your ID card and then it will verify your this within 1 or 2 weeks, and then you get the access. You will be notified via email that you have got the access. So then if you get the access, then you will know that you started having a pro account on GitHub. That's how you'll have this badge of pro. That's when you come to know that you are updated to the pro version of it. So then this lot of features are there. You can use everything, whatever you want, technical, non-technical, designing, all things are there, mobile, security analysis, APIs, lot of things you get. You can explore it and use whatever you want. It's not necessary you need to use all. Like you have to go to the site and like apply.
You get all this for 2 years.
Yes, until you are a student, you can use all this. Till you are a student. So until your course gets over, till that time you can use all this. Some of the features are unlimited accounts. So if you go through it, you will understand. Some are temporary, some are 1 year, some are 3 months. So go to the benefit and see what the benefit of the site is, and you can use it. Okay, this is a good tool you can go through. This is one code that I found. Any fool can write code that a computer can understand. Good programmers write code that human can understand. Why I put this quote is because I'll tell you one very bad habit of what Hayden does. Hayden, you know what I scold you the most for?
Yeah, variable names.
Variable name. Hayden is so bad at naming variables and files. You know the type of file names he uses? A.py, B.py, VB.py, C.py. He keeps naming the files like this.
I think I have the same one on my GitHub also.
Yeah, he uses, and even for variables, he puts these variable names like A, B, BB, C. Same everywhere. He has the same pattern. So
the thing is, like, I remember the variables, but someone else can't read them.
Exactly.
Yeah, that you can't do. Like if you are uploading your code for someone or you are sharing your code, or if you are making an open source project, or okay, don't
Yeah.
go for your own code. If you're working on someone else's project, multiple people are working on that project. So you can't put variable names or file names like these, which are not explanatory. Like you shouldn't give a big variable or file name. Can be short, but it should be explanatory. Like if it's a file for a dashboard, it can be named dashboard.html. Why to name it 1.html, 2.html, main.html? No, don't follow such naming this. And also like even for variables, function names, variable names, everything, it has a naming standards. So the camel casing and all those things you can follow. Like camel casing is when you use the file names like camel case. See, the camel case is like this. So your file name's second word would be a capital.
Raju, are you showing something?
Oh, Raju, your screen went white.
Yeah.
White.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's come up.
Yeah, now we can see.
What is visible?
The slideshow. Yeah, now your browser can see.
I went to the another thing.
Hmm.
So this type of naming is called as camel casing. So if you have a two-word function, let's say your function is to count variables, so you will name it count variable. So the V in variable would be a capital one. Okay, this is camel casing. Also, there is one more type of casing. I don't remember the exact name. It is like this actually. The first letter of all the words would be capitals.
I think that is
So-
Pascal casing.
Pascal
I'm
casing
not
also.
sure. I think
So this conventions, it differs from programming language to programming language, but camel casing is one which is very widely used. So like you can follow it for HTML also. So this helps to understand what your function is doing or what your variable or what your file is doing. Like don't follow file names like a.p, bb.p or bb.html, whatever like that. Never do such things.
Yeah, continue.
So like if someone else is learning your reading your code, they should understand what the code is doing. Otherwise the code is a waste. Like it's just like a author writing a book which no one can read. What's the use of that book then? No use. So the code that you write should be like, it should be good, it should be neat, it should be properly arranged, and others should be able to read. If you show it to a third person, he should be able to read that code, and like just looking at the code, he should be able to see कि अच्छा ये कर रहा है. So that thing you always keep in mind, that your code should be readable. Even in exam, if you go to the exam and write any unstructured code, then you may lose some marks even though your code is right, because the teachers won't be so patient, like they will go through and sit and read the whole each and every line. Maybe this is the reason that you lost some marks in the code. They may not understand it properly. So don't do that.
And if you're a foodie, there is kebab casing also.
Kebab. Oh, that is something new.
Yeah, like they replace the spaces with dash, like hyphen.
Oh yeah. That is also used, huh?
Yeah.
Actually, this naming concept, this has like fixed things like when which is used. I also don't know all, but there are a lot in which where it is used. It's all actually programmed. Like they know there are proper methods to use. Like for function names, it is.
Function name we start with capitals.
We start
And
with
for
both,
variables,
all the first letters will be a capital, or
Yeah.
variable names it is camel casing.
Yes.
That's how it is in most programming languages. So that way you can start using all these things. Like it will take some time to make this into a habit. It may take time, but then if you are a person who are doing this the wrong way, then please try to improve. Then it will benefit you. Like even Hayden took a lot of time to improve on this, but he still uses it sometimes.
That
But it's
is
now
very
much
rare
better.
now. Yeah.
It's much better now. So it's nothing you can't change. It's just a habit, but you can always change it. Just practice. Take a decision that from today I will use proper naming conventions, and then just start using. And within a month, you won't even understand. You will be using it by default.
Yeah.
Then it's tools. So tools is many of the tools we covered yesterday. I want everyone of you to contribute to this. Like, which are some good tools? Like yesterday I asked, no one was answering. Today I'm asking again. If any of you have some good tools that you can suggest, please suggest. Anyone?
And it's not like 100% have to be like programming based.
Yeah,
Anything
yeah.
that is-
Anything can do. Just tell your tools that you use beside while you are coding something.
Hello.
Not necessarily it is web development, it can be anything.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hari.
Hari.
Yeah. So recently, now I started using Sublime Text.
Okay.
So firstly, I thought I used to use Visual Studio, so it had GitHub, right? So we can do GitHub things and all in that, like you told in the GitHub workshop. So actually, Sublime Text also provides like it's not Sublime Text. It's
Yeah, it's an
we
external.
can say it's like a partner like thing. So
I
it's
know.
Sublime Merge.
Merge.
So I use it a lot. So it is better to use GitHub in Sublime Merge.
Yes.
Like you can do every single thing you do. You do not have to code anything. You do not have to go to command prompt and do git push and all. You can directly do them on git on the Sublime Merge thing.
Yes, yes. Sublime Merge, I have also
Yeah.
tried using it. If your machine is a bit low end or you don't have much
Yeah.
resources on your machine, then people tend to use Sublime Text because VS Code is
Yeah,
little
VS
bit
Code is
slow.
quite slow.
Yeah. So
The thing of VS Code and Git is because they are the same company, they end up having the best support.
like
That's why we recommend.
yes, there is difference like Sublime Merge or isme, but the features as he told is right. It gives you the all the features that of the Git is there, everything of pull, push, all that things are available in it at a lower resource cost. So then, but it's a different software. It's like it's not a tool inside Sublime Text. It's a different software called a Sublime Merge. It's from the same developers of Sublime Text. They have launched this, which it gives you full track with UI of how your code is working and everything. Yeah, that is a good tool.
Even like
and
many
I
people.
also-
Continue, Hari.
Yeah, I also use a browser sync. So like if I am working on CSS now, so what happens is every time I have to go to the browser and I have to refresh it, I have to save it. So what happens with browser sync is that whenever you change a code and save it, it directly reflects on the browser.
Yeah.
So
Hari, you
I
weren't
use
there
it a lot.
yesterday.
No, I was not there yesterday.
Yeah. Browser sync, I showed them yesterday.
Acha, okay,
You
fine.
guys
fine.
must, all those who were there yesterday, browser sync, you must be knowing what it was. And for those who joined today, browser sync is some good piece of. It's a extension. It comes as an extension to VS Code also. Also, it can be downloaded as a different software also. So what it does is it like I showed you yesterday. You like if you are not using any such server or a sync, then you have to save the file. You have to go to the folder. You have to reload the file again to see the changes that you made to the code. But if you have a extension like this, it will make your task easy. It will directly show you the changes. Like as soon as you save the file, it directly gets changed on the website preview also. So that is a good tool that you can use. Others?
Then many people like I noticed in our class when they share code on, they will like mostly send on WhatsApp. Okay, like small amount of code. So
Yeah.
then indentation goes. So for that you can use Pastebin. It's a very useful tool. Just copy. You can paste a code. It keeps the indentation, everything, and you can select which language basically, and then you can send the link to anyone.
Okay.
That's a nice tool.
See, there are such tools come up. Like everyone will know some different tool.
Yeah.
You can share it. This is a
Like
platform.
I
to
just
share.
used Pastebin in the evening, and I was like, oh yeah, I should get this in the workshop today. Because you
Others-
can like see Python indentation becomes an error. Like, every time you're not going to send someone the Git link, like clone the entire repo when you just check small amount of code. So like Python का indentation के साथ you just select the language उधर, like you want Python or whichever language, let's suppose all languages, and then you just put out like you don't need to log in also. I think you directly just share and then they give you a link.
Oh,
Yeah, you can like decide for how long you want to keep the code.
oh, that is nice. That is a good
Yeah.
tool. बाकी लोग, someone guys please reply यार. ऐसा only we are talking ऐसा लग रहा है यार. I just found that I can use HP ka charger on Dell. Wow. Guys, others, no one, no suggestions? Okay, then we should maybe move forward to the next. Never assume anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hayden will explain this very well.
I'm not to say anything.
Never assume anything. The words
The
itself.
skin is not white again.
Now?
Yeah.
So never assume anything, as I even told this yesterday once while explaining something else. Like if you're on a project and you don't, if like I was given one project recently during lockdown, but the people, those who gave the project, they weren't clear about what they want. They only weren't sure. Like it was just their also vague idea that they got, and they gave it to us to like give a proposal. And so the info that they gave was very unclear. Like many things were missing. Like and when we asked them like what this should be, they were also not able to say. So then what usually people think to do is like to be not like now to go and ask them again, ye kya hai, ye aisa kyun hai? That's a bit difficult. So what people do is they just assume by themselves ki ye aisa hoga. So this thing sometimes helps you. It's not like that it is not, even I have done this. But then what happens is, I'll tell you the problem in this is like, you will assume the thing, you will make it whole. After you have done the whole thing, you will realize this was a waste. This happens a lot. Like when you're working on projects, this will happen a lot. So never assume something. So if you have any doubt of why this is, if this is like this, even if you have a slightest doubt, get it cleared first, because you don't have to waste your time. Otherwise you make the whole code and then to change the code again, that's a big task again. Not on a smaller scale, but always think from a larger project scale. If it is a bigger project, the work that went into making that single page may be a big. Or like if you have, people have started using Angular, React or something like that, in that it has this component based development. So in that it works like components are used, where you will have to like each part, or like even in single page there will have multiple components. So like as we had taken the example of e-commerce, if the browser part of the products display, that can be a one module component, and later if you scroll down the page, you may see a footer bar on the website where it shows the contact us and other site links and address and all. That can be a different component. The nav bar on the top can be a different component. So when if you are knowing how Angular React works, it works in such a manner. So it's all component based, and in that it is too much of work. Like you need to program multiple things. Like when a component is being made, it will have one component will have 3 different files. I'm speaking from Angular ka point. Even in React also it's same. React it will have 3 files: one HTML, one JavaScript, one CSS, and one HTML. That's how it works. One template. HTML is for templating, CSS is for styling, and JavaScript is the main file actually. Usually in web in HTML, CSS, HTML is the key file, JavaScript is a side file. But React, since it is on JavaScript, it's reverse. JavaScript is the main file that handles everything. HTML is only to format the things, how you want the website to be. So then there are multiple routing and all. When you go into detail in that, you won't understand all this. There is routing. You have to route all the files where which component has to be loaded, and all components are loaded as packages. Like in Python, you import. For example, for importing Django, you import Django from the path. Aisa you write. Similarly, you have to import these libraries. So all components are libraries to another components. So that way it works. So then these things, when you are doing, to make single change costs a lot of time and efforts to be taken. So don't assume things when you are working. Make it clear. Find what the exact thing, what the client needs, or what the person who told you to make the thing needs, and then work on it. Don't waste your time.
I have sent a link on the chat. This is a cool site for getting background images of websites. Like they have copyright free content. images. So then, like, if anyone needs them.
Yeah, I'll also at the end I'll show you a lot of free sites where you get lots, like you get good HTML templates, Bootstrap templates, and all that. There are a lot of sites that gives you such way. Oh, the major point is this: Google is your friend. Google doing even searching on Google is a task. There are a lot of things that can be done on Google. For example, I'll show you. Tell me how many of you knew this. I want to search for, let's say, myself on DBIT site, only on the DBIT site. So I can go like this. See the listings that I got. It's all in the domain of DBIT.in. So I'm only searching my name in DBIT site. So this will help you find things faster. Like if I had searched the same thing on Google directly, I wouldn't get these things. I would get some other things. So it shows my Instagram, LinkedIn, GitHub, YouTube, all these things. So there's a lot of good content, lot of bad content also. Like, but if you want to be precise, like to search within a website, you can use this thing. It's very easy. You just have to write site, put a colon, mention the site, and after a space, mention your search query, whatever it is. Then it will show you this. So this is something that is very useful. You can use this. Then one thing is Stack Overflow that everyone knows. Stack Overflow is the hub for all codes. So like I have seen like when I get some errors, the first thing I do is Google for that error. So, but then I've seen that some people are not able to get their solution even after Googling it. So then like if you're Googling it also, like you need to be somewhat precise, not precise, you need to be sure what you are searching for. For example, let's take the issue of Skype. Yesterday I was saying Skype you won't understand Skype is installed. That is a trouble for XAMPP. So XAMPP not starting. Apache. See, troubleshoot to fix XAMPP. Apache is not running, not starting in because the port 80 is in use. This is the error which actually comes up if you try to use XAMPP even when Skype is installed. See the site. Can you find where the issue is being hit? No. See, the solution they gave was you change the Apache to run on a different port rather than 80. Change the port from 80 to 1234. This is the solution they are giving. But then again, see this site gives the issue. Some applications like Skype use HTTPS ports for communication. You can try executing this. So this site gave you the solution. So always go for multiple sources. But some of the most trusted sources are obviously like if you are going for some error, like if you know particularly what the error is. For example, type error, object is updated. This comes in Python. See, the first one would be, as usual, Stack Overflow. So to know which is the best answer in Stack Overflow, don't always go for the green tick. Okay, green tick comes when the owner, like the person who put up this query, accepts this answer. That answer gets a green tick. That's how this works. I think many of you must not be knowing this. So that's when a green tick comes. Another method is to see the votes, how much upvotes the answer has got. So the answer with the most upvotes may be the best answer, but sometimes it may not be also. Like sometimes it may be the case that this answer doesn't work for mine, and maybe the last answer that is up here, this works for me, even though it has 0 upvotes. Okay, this can happen. This happens very commonly because like the thing that you searched for, like this is pretty accurate search, but sometimes the questions are not like this. Usually if you see on Stack Overflow, the questions are not like this. It comes like very See the questions that they put up, like it's like they give anything, then they give us a huge question. See, this has only one answer, so like you can see. Also, the comments that come to this answer, that will also help you. Like if there is some error in this answer, the comments will clear it out. Some other person will find out that no, this shouldn't be like this. This should be like this. So then the comments, you should also go through the comments for that answer if your thing is not working for you. Also, to learn, you can always go to sites like W3 Schools or Java T Point or Tutorials Point and multiple. And also, Hidden made this habit to me using documentations. Right, Hidden?
Yeah, that's the best source.
Documentations, I don't know, like sometimes I don't feel like using it. For example, I'll take you Bootstrap ka documentation. So if you need to perform something on Bootstrap, you don't know how it works. See, there's a documentation option here. This gives you all the contents. Like first of all, it gives you the how to install Bootstrap. It says you have to just copy paste this link. You have to use this. It gives you a starter template, everything. All the contents are here. Like if you go to contents or components, see here, everything is there. How alert can be displayed, different types of buttons available there. And they give you the codes for that also here. So you can just copy this code and use it on your own. So then like if you want a particular thing to be there, like you can search it here. Let's say scroll spy. So here you go to scroll spy, you know how it works. Then you can take it from here. That way this works. So this is something good habit actually to be, because when the programming level increases, the project level also increases. And then I have seen in bigger projects, people usually use documentations. Like at starting, you may find it very boring. It will be like going through research papers or something. It may seem like that. So will be like, yaar, ye kitna bada hai, it's too big. How will I find what I need from this thing and all? But then this gives you the most trusted content. Like Google is just a aggregator. Google doesn't produce its own content. You can't be sure that Google पे जो भी दिखता है उस right होता है. It may not be. So that, and then this, you by experience you build up the trust on many websites. Like you may find कि okay ये website पे जो content आता है this is always good. ये website पे जो आता है this is usually good. That's the reason why Stack Overflow, GitHub are trusted for codes, because people trust that the codes there are majority of times proper running codes. So that is another method to do it. Then is proper planning and don't be lazy. Proper planning I told you before also. I'm not going to it again. I'm not repeating what I told. Don't be lazy. This is something actually what Hayden told me. It's like when you are making a code, sometimes we all feel lazy. We'll be like, we'll not, maybe not in a good mood to write. So then we may skip some things. So what happens is when you skip that part for that current time, being feeling lazy, that may come back as a trouble for you later. You may not understand this now, but if I take an example, can I explain this? Like for now, you may do it something shortcut. Okay, like let's say to make a navbar. Okay, very basic navbar on a website. There are multiple ways. You can either take a code from the starter template of a navbar, put it up, change the content to your way, and edit it in your way, however you want. So that may work. Otherwise, you can sit and hard code the whole thing from start to end, everything. You write your own classes, you write your own IDs, you put your own CSS. That is another method. So multiple methods are there. So it's just like they say in Max. However you do, the output matters. So there are in development programming also, there are multiple ways to reach at one single output. So then, but don't be lazy. Like if you skip something, like abhi sochega, like if the efficient method to write a code may be a 100-line code, and the shortcut version to write this may be a 50-line code. Okay, so seeing at the code ka size, you may think अरे यार 50 line में code हो रहा है, तो then why to go for the 100 line code? But then if you go thinking that way, it wouldn't be much, it would be trouble for you later, because the efficiency matters when the project size is bigger. The more the project increases, the difficulty in making changes is one issue. Like your code should always be flexible. You must have heard people saying that your code should be flexible. Like it should be, you should be able to scale the project. Like अगर मेरे को एक feature नहीं चाहिए, you should be able to remove that feature immediately without making changes to a whole code again. सिर्फ अगर मेरे को एक part नहीं चाहिए, like for example Hayden and I were working on a project. He said कि remove the search bar from all the pages. Like for now it is just a search bar, but that to remove that search bar, since it was a modular code, it was very easy for me. I just had to find the division which the search bar was. I just commented the whole division on all the pages and my work was done. But if it was not a modular code, then first thing where I would waste my time is to find where this thing is working. Then I would have to find where all it is linked. किधर किधर उसका CSS गया, किधर उसका JavaScript linked है. There must be lot of factors that are. So don't be lazy. थोड़ा ज़्यादा time लगा. Spend that time. Write your code properly. Don't go for the shortcut methods always. It's good to save time, but save time in a good way, not at the cost of like having to do things again.
The best example of this was like recently, if anyone knows about that bot of mine on Discord, I wrote very inefficient code. Okay, I was like, okay, हो जाएगा काम इसमें से. And then what happened is now is like it took too much of my server required, like my credit got over. But forget about that. The thing is now you have to make it efficient. I have to rewrite the entire code. So now I'm thinking to myself, should I write it again or no? So if I would have not been lazy in the start only and just written better code that time, I would not have like come to this point, right? And that's what when I just thought about that, it was gradually we should add this point. Like many people just do this, like considering अच्छा देखते हैं बाद में हो जाएगा. But at the end, then you will really get bored.
That's all. Like then when the actual hard work comes, no, at that time you will be like fed up. You'll be like छोड़ जाने दे. Then you give up. That's the another issue. You give up on the project then. You won't work on it ahead. So don't do that. That's something it will cost you. If you had thought about it at the start itself, you must have completed that project. But since you were lazy in the starting, you end up giving up on that project, which never got ended. So then like it's also a loss for you. Like you missed a project that was to be completed and could be published. So don't do that.
And one other thing I would say, when you're starting a project, don't think that planning is wasting time. Like in the start, I had this like thing, like rather than start programming, it's not waste. But I think now I've started realizing is if I like, okay, this is going to be my database design, this is going to be like what I need, and then like research about it and then start the project, I complete my job faster and more better than what I expected it to be. Because most people, like not most, even I was one of them, like I should just start programming and then I should later realize.
Yeah, same, me too. I also used to directly start programming, but it actually worked in the startings because at that time our piece of code was small. We used to write single file programs and all. But when the project is bigger, you can't go to that approach. But then what happens is like this, like starting when you use this pattern of directly starting on the code and it works for you. Later, when the bigger project comes, you use the same methodology there thinking कि अरे इसमें तो चला था तो इधर भी चलेगा. But that time you will fail. So then like people don't understand that part ki okay, you should actually think first how it should be. You should analyze the whole situation, how it is, then work on that project rather than just starting to write the code.
And it will save you time for sure. I'm telling you. Like in the start, you'll be like, yeah, you're just wasting time. Like just
you may the graph will be different.
Yeah,
it will be like exponential graph for you. Like you may be wasting your time. Like you may think कि अरे बहुत time जा रहा है planning में, बहुत अभी तक कुछ program चालू नहीं है.
Hari will be there. Remember Unity का game? अपना गेम कुछ नहीं हुआ था स्टार्टिंग में, सब लोग का गेम चालू हुआ था. हरी तो मेरे को याद है. And then at the end कितना फटाफट हुआ because we planned everything. Like okay, we had issues, we had to change, but still it was like well planned and we could like in the start like when we had barely started like most of our code. Till then people's games were already like being built already and we were like, oh, But at the end, what happened was we had planned such well that we didn't need to make changes to it.
Exactly. That's what. If you don't plan, your graph will be the inverse. Your graph will be at the peak in the starting, but then it will be stagnant by the end. Like you will be stuck at some point from where you won't progress.
Actually, while starting the game, our idea was something really different.
Yeah, I remember.
When we thought of it, bringing it practically, it was like we can't do it. So we changed a lot of things in that, and finally we made it. So the making
and
that was
just in
really
a hurry.
slow.
Yeah, if you would have started in the start, we would have to delete
Yeah.
like the entire code, like change everything from the start,
Yeah,
and then remake it. We would have wasted a lot of time.
yeah,
That's why I always plan. Like I take the extra time, literally like writing and drawing. People will be like, "Oh, why are you just drawing a diagram? You can just think in your mind." Yeah, it may be for y'all, but I think that little time which I'll spend extra on like designing the database or maybe deciding your modules, that time you will cover, because later you have to think, "Oh shit, I'm missing this module." When you have it written down or typed somewhere, what you can do, you can just strike it out or you can just say done, which you cannot do in your
Also,
mind. Like,
what you should do is now you should sit with your partner, start discussing about it, do good criticism. Like
Yeah.
you find out the mistakes in it. Like if you are working on the team, if it's your own project now, you won't find mistakes. But you should find mistakes. You should question. Like I and Aiden work on many projects together. We always question each other's points. कि ये ऐसा
Mansi
क्यों
must have
हुआ?
realized this.
Yeah, she was like earlier she used to not get much adapted to this thing that we do. Like we just start fighting on it. Like ये तो करना ही नहीं है, ये हो ही नहीं सकता ऐसा.
Because you don't understand each other's point of view, but then that's the thing, you have to explain it to the other person, and then you have to understand, come to a common ground, and that will be the best place, because you have two different minds thinking like two different possibilities. Like maybe I'm thinking more to save data, and he's thinking more in terms of space, like in terms of speed, and then maybe you come to a common ground where it's both efficient for data and speed. Just
And
giving an
look,
example.
it's always like when another person, like your mind won't find the mistakes of your own thinking. So you need a third person to analyze that thing. So when your project is built and when it is going to the users will criticize it, and if it is not good, they won't use it. So that's why. So what the developer thinks, you should question it. You shouldn't blindly follow what someone is saying कि ये अच्छा है तो use करते हैं. नहीं ये क्यों अच्छा है पूछ उसको. Ask him why. Why you
Exactly.
need this feature in it? Why you need it to be working this way? Why not this way? You can change anything to like, and then you discuss with your team. Then everyone comes to a common point. Then that will be a good solution for you. That's
Yeah,
how
but
it works most
That's
of the
why
time.
even like companies like hire separately testers. Why? So that they are not the same programmer. Like they have the knowledge, but they can cross question. Like,
Yeah,
why
if you know the product development part, first the product is developed, then it goes on alpha testing. Alpha testing is where the developers themselves test the code, like the developers inside the team itself, or maybe in some other team in the same company tests it. Once they test it, then it goes to beta testing. Beta testing is most famous testing that everyone knows about, and you must have seen it on Play Store where you get the option to enable as beta test. What beta testing is? Beta testing is a testing open for users. So they want the users to test it and tell them ki what are the issues in it. So like what I have noticed is many people apply for beta testing just to get new features earlier
updates.
than others.
But the thing is, that's the thing that's what I don't like. The thing is, like people apply for beta, okay, cool. But then at least give updates. Like if I'm in beta, I'll send bug reports. I
Yeah,
will
you have
send
to
like
send. Beta testing
Yeah.
is not a feature by Play Store to get updates faster. That's a wrong thing that you kept. It's not the
because
beta
they set
testing is.
limits. They set
They have
limits,
limits.
like 1,000 people can join the testing. Now if 1,000 real people who want to test and like give them real feedback, that will be better, right?
Try getting into WhatsApp का beta testing. You won't get WhatsApp का beta easily.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
not
get it
long.
easily.
It's like they उनका limits सब बहुत जल्दी करो. So I was once part of the WhatsApp का beta, but then I left it because it was very
That was a bug, I
unstable.
think.
Yeah. So I was losing on my chats, so then I left that. So like, but I'm still part of beta on Snapchat.
I'm a WhatsApp beta, but I'm not updated to the latest version. So someone else can update it then.
So that's way it works. So then if you're on beta, you can tell them the issues in it. You can tell the bugs on your app to them so that they can fix it. So that's
Yeah, and
how.
see, like if you are using beta, you're going to have bugs, okay? So don't
Yeah.
expect the app to run like proper. So many
You
people
don't
come.
want.
Yeah.
It will be very buggy. The app will have a lot of issues. It will crash anytime. You may feel get to notice very strange thing happening. You won't even
Battery will
understand
be
why.
drained.
A lot
Yeah.
of things happen. It will be buggy. The app won't be stable. So, but it is for that. That's the reason of beta testing. Beta testing is for that, so that the users can test, because the user base is bigger. Like the developers के पास जो phones use करते, the machines they use will be limited. But when it comes to users, the user range is quite high. Some people may have very high-end phones. Some people will have very low. Some people may have very updated versions of Android. Some will have the older versions of Android. So there are multiple factors that come into play, and then they should know the app is working smooth on all devices. That's why they do this beta testing. Yes. So always talk with your teammates, communicate with them, discuss the points, argue. Arguing is a very good part. Argue. Like if we are brainstorming, the method I and Hayden always do is we give each other the freedom. Socho, what will be the features that will be needed? Okay, so we both will think separately for the ideas. We don't think together. We think separately for the ideas, and we tell the ideas to each other. The other person will criticize that idea. Why this won't work?
I think everything will be like that. That's the best way, I think, for ideas.
So the other, you can't criticize your own point. You will always be in favor of your point. So argue with that person to prove that your point is better than their point. So if you prove your own point, that is a good feature which can be added. So that's what, like always the opponent ever wins. It's not necessary the person at the other end will prove that your idea is wrong always. No, he will come to
At
agreement
the
to
end,
a
it's the
project.
same team. You're going to make a same project. So both of you want a good thing only. The only thing is the better one gets selected.
That's right. So this works. So this is a good way to move forward with the project.
And also you should keep the scope limited. I mean, we've noticed like people just take a very big scope for their project.
Yeah, this is a very big thing that people like go with smaller things and
then
bring
add on.
good precision to it.
Yeah, I agree.
And then you can always expand your project. You can add more features to it. Don't start with a big high-end project that आज तो मैं अगला Facebook में ही बनाएगा. Don't go that way. Start small, keep adding to it. Facebook was not the way it was now when it was started. Facebook was just a single page website which showed the photos of Mark Zuckerberg college mates. That's it. That was Facebook. So from there, it's such a big social media platform. पहला उसमें games नहीं था. They added games to it. Then they added chatting to it. They added marketplace to it. E-commerce add kiya because e-commerce was very hyped. So they added e-commerce. So keep on adding modules to your project and it will go on increasing. Don't start with a big one. You can aim for a big one, but be practical in your project. ऐसा नहीं कि don't just dream and उसके सीधा वो नहीं बनता है. Step by step you have to proceed. So be practical when you are thinking. सोचो कि if it is in your scope, like for everyone the skill set will be different. It's not same for everyone. So like you should analyze your own skill set, how good you can do, how far you can do, and do it. Like everyone has a different set of skills. Maybe
and
someone
don't just stick to the skill set. Like just go little above it. Like you need to challenge yourself, but they're not going to learn.
Yeah, you challenge yourself. Like last time मेरे को इतना सा बना नहीं हुआ था. Like I was good at front end. I am still not good at back end. So that now project I choose, I am like I will do back end. So it's a single step you take. Like first time you say कि I will use template and make the website. Next time you say कि I will write my own styling and make the website. The next time you say I'll make both front end and back end. Next time I'll make database also. So keep increasing your own skill set step by step. ऐसा नहीं कि अगला दिन ही I like you wake up the next morning and you say कि आज मेरे को Angular का app बनाने का सीधा. That won't work for you. So be practical. So, you should know what you do.
Yeah, that's the main part. Like, see, Nara's Graja said he was good at the front end. Like, I used to be the back end, so I could never develop front end. I should always end up doing Bootstrap for all the projects. And then now I slowly started like asking. Recently, I've been like doing the front end, and he's going towards the back end. So you don't learn everything in one time.
Exactly. So you should be.
We both can program in the back end and front end, but the thing is, that, like, to get good at it, you have to do more of it, right?
Yeah. Should keep practicing.
Yeah.
Always do projects. Like you can take help of YouTube. YouTube has a lot of tutorials and all also. So take some idea. Don't sit and copy the whole thing just to say that I completed a project or I completed a course. Don't do that way. Take a project idea, start working on it on your own.
Yeah.
Side में take reference of that code. Like if something is you are thinking, you're not able to come to a solution for that, okay, then you can take help from other sources. But make your brain work. You think how you can proceed, what can be done on this to make it work.
And if you're not thinking like we're just talking about this, if you just go to my GitHub, you will find projects which are there on YouTube, but you'll see the code is completely different because I've written the code on my own. So I just look at the output and I try implementing in my own. You understood? So that's the main part. Like, and if you get stuck, of course you can use help, but just try doing it on your own. Because once you get used to doing it on your own, you can do anything.
Yeah, that is how it works. Guys, अभी तुम लोग का बोलो. Everyone give your experience. What you find difficult or what you find easy. Tell something.
We need people for the hackathon also. Just saying.
Yes. Guys, share. This is a platform to share.
Everybody left and went.
Hari. Guys, looks like Hari.
So I am a front-end developer, right? So I use a lot of CSS. So I would like to share a few tools which you can use for prototyping. So what happens is now when you are using CSS, a lot of things change when you are changing from one screen size to another. There are a lot of different things. So what prototyping does is it actually helps you to explore like what you can do in different screen sizes. Like how do you want your website to look on a tab? How do you want it to look on a phone? So like you can use prototyping as like you can say the dimensioning thing. So a lot of times what I do is I use my prototyping, like I use Adobe XD. There are more tools like Figma. Figma you can use it online, and if you use a MacBook, you can also search for a software called Sketch. It is also very good. So what I do is many times I look at the dimensions that are there on the Adobe XD, and I directly copy paste it on my CSS. So what it helps is like you do not need to go to the browser, check how your code is working, what the dimensions are, how do you want to change it. You can like directly copy those dimensions and paste it on the CSS code. So prototyping actually helps us a lot. Even if
I agree to this.
Even if you're not a UI designer or a graphic designer, prototyping you can still use it when you are making small projects. Like you don't have a different person for designing the project. So like prototyping helps in that way.
Yes, that is a very good idea to do. Like prototyping, it helps you visualize things. Like you can know how your code is gonna look after it is completed before you actually write the code.
I usually just draw a rough sketch, but I think I should start using these tools now.
Actually, that is prototyping is actually the next step. Like earlier, people used to sit and draw how it. You used to take pen and paper and sit and draw all the pages in the website and see how it looks. So then they used to start coding, but prototyping took it to the next level and it makes it much easier. But you can see all the colors, you can see all the animations, how the transition works. ये क्लिक किया तो किधर जाना चाहिए, hyperlinking, everything they built into prototyping.
Yeah, and especially when you are working in team now. So what we did a project, like a small project during me and my friends. So what we used to do is like instead of discussing how this page is gonna look, how that page is gonna look, what we used to do is in Adobe XD there is something called as collaborating. So like everyone can view what you are doing on the project. So what we used to do is I used to design the prototyping, and my friends who used to do the CSS part and all, they used to see what the page is looking like they can take the colors and all which I have used on that prototyping and all. So it helps in a group project also.
Yeah, and now since Joe mentioned animation, I always say use less of it, because I've seen many sites like they just overdo with animations.
Keep your page load speed very less. Very less should be very minimum. Your page should load very faster, because if people are having slower connections, then the page should load easily. Shouldn't take up much of a time. And there is one tool for that also, Google Page Insights. page speed insights.
Yeah.
You can check your website ka loading speed here. So like if I go to this website, it will analyze your website and tell you the loading speed of how good your website is, how faster it can load on multiple devices. So you can check for this.
You can do many things. You can like avoid multiple fonts, reduce
Yeah,
animations.
see, this load speed is quite bad. So it is 50 to 89 is bad. Okay, so this they also tell you what are the issues that are taking up the loading speed. Time to interactive, large contentful page, first qualities, render blocking, remove unused CSS. See, they also give you insights on what you can improve so that the page loads faster. This is something you can use. Pakshal, तू कुछ बोल रहा था?
No, I was not saying. अरे वो जो हरी बोला ना वो उसका ही बोलने का था.
बोलना share your part.
वही डिजाइन का that about Adobe XD हम लोग ने उस पे काम किया था. So हरी used to design मतलब prototype. He used to prototype and फिर वो बहुत easy हो जाता था कि like हम लोग को HTML और CSS का करना था तो हम लोग डायरेक्ट कलर्स वगैरह यूज कर सकते थे. तो वो बहुत और आसान हो जाता था जो HTML और CSS पार्ट करते थे.
That's hey guys. Also, there is this color picker extension which is available for browsers. Okay, see, I have installed it.
Yes, I
But
also
this helps-
downloaded it recently. It is very good.
Yeah.
This helps you a lot because if you want, like, there are color themes that work. Like, you can use any random colors on your website. So if you want to know what a color exactly is, you should know the hash code for that. So this how it works is color picker. You take not this pick color from page. Then like you can just hover, like for example, I want to know what this yellow color is. So if I click here, it will copy the hash code. You see this hashtag FPC177. That was the color. So this is the color, actual exact color. Like if you even change the slight of it, it may vary. So when you are developing, the color should be very accurate. So you go for this hexacode. So to get this hexacode of any color on a website, or if you want to know from an image, so you can just open the image and use a color picker tool and find the color on that image. So this will help you a lot when you are doing CSS. Others, anyone? Adonia, Alvina, Atira, Bridget, Denvin, Shobin, Sam.
Yeah, and
Yes.
also Grijo, you told about time now, so loading time should be very low. What many people do is I have seen my friends doing this. What they do is now in a website, suppose your image is going to be only of say 500 by 500 pixels. What they do is, a lot of times now they search for full HD pictures and they put like 3000 pixels ka image and all. So that also actually takes a lot of loading time. So that
Exactly.
also should be
Yes. Always be like, don't overboard your server with excess things. Like if you don't need something, remove it. Like also I have seen this people doing that. They put an image at first, then they change the image. They want a newer image, so then they also copy the newer image to the folder. Then again, if they are changing another, they again copy the another image. So they like keep on filling the server with all the unnecessary images. So don't do that. If you don't want something, remove that from the server. Don't keep your server loading so much. It will take, like, it's just like a download speed. The more files you have, the bigger the file is, the more time it will take to download. So it is like if you have a 10 MB file and you have a 100 MB file, which will load faster? The 10 MB file will load faster. So always be efficient about memory too. Sneha has suggested Colorsco. Yes, Colorsco is a good site.
I sent a
Colorsco.
link of tiny JPG. It does compression for images. So if you have a big image, you can compress it. It doesn't like lose much of quality, but the size reduces a lot.
This is Colorsco. This gives you ESA themes. You can always search for multiple themes like this. I used this yesterday only.
Yeah.
Header for your pie chart.
Yeah.
This is how the theme was generated. So see, this
And
gives
you can hit
random.
space. Yeah, hit space to generate new.
Yeah, you can change this. It gives you different themes, or like you can just search for website color themes.
Don't
It
open the
will
first
help
link.
you.
Everybody
Oh, this
will.
is my favorite link. Yeah,
No,
this is the
don't
best
open
link.
it. I'm telling you,
Ah,
I know each and every theme in this site.
yeah. If you go to, I've seen this website 100 times. I know
Everybody
which.
lands on this page.
See, it gives you must theme. So according to your project, according to how what the project is, choose a suitable color theme. Like it shouldn't happen that you are making a corporate website and the website is funky like this one. Don't
Yeah.
keep that way. The color theme should
You should
suit
know your
to your
target
need.
audience. That's the
It should
main.
be like what the use is. Like see, this is something futuristic, so उसके लिए इसका colors थोड़ा ऐसा techy style
Hmm.
में. So something innovative colors, they use six bright colors. But if you want something subtle, keep minimal colors like these. There are multiple things you can, whatever looks good for you, use it, make it. That way it's okay. That is another. Others guys, सब लोग
Samuel said something.
Samuel
HTML.
HTML color codes.
Okay. Actually, no, this is inbuilt in VS Code. What Samuel has said in
Okay.
CSS. If you
Okay.
use VS, yeah.
Oh, this is something good again. It gives you the hexac, RGB and HSL, different types of codings. Color pickers, hai, color charts, hai, what all color themes you can use. Nice, nice. This is also good site. I said there are a lot of tools. Adonia said Unsplash, Sneha said Pixels. Yeah,
Yeah, for pictures.
they are websites for pictures. Yes, they give you royalty free stock
Hmm.
images, so the quality is good there. Like if you are using on Google, if you go to Google and take, yeah, guys, always remember, if you are doing some project which needs to be published, you can't take
Hmm.
data from Google Images.
Yeah,
People can
because
sue you for
copyright.
copyright. Yeah, the content on Google are from multiple sources. So if you take a logo, logos are still accepted to be taken. But if it is images, let's say a computer, some images are copyrighted
Copyright.
images. So if
You
you
can
take some,
sort them.
so if you take some random image somewhere and you later find out that it's a copyrighted image, that company can sue you for using their image. So don't do that. So it's good to use these sites, like you can search for stock free images and you will get these sites. They sort Pixels, Unsplash, stock free images, Pixabay, and lot are there. So you can use these. This will help you. So anyone, anything you want to share or something? Bridget, you understood what we were saying? Was it good content? Adonia says icon set. Yeah, icon set. There are multiple icon packs also. You may need icon packs for your websites. So some
Yeah,
famous
Font
icon packs
Awesome.
are Font Awesome, that is
I can
used
hear it.
most widely. Font Awesome. Bootstrap also has its set of icons. Icon set also has set of icons. So how it
There are
works is,
multiple. Flat or something is there. Flat
yeah,
icon.
there are a lot of multiple companies
Yeah.
that give you icons. So
It
it's like,
depends on which you like.
yeah, what जिसका design तुम्हें अच्छा लगा, you can use that design. So इसका कैसा रहता है? It has, I'll show you for Font Awesome. You must have seen this code, like in your code, if you have downloaded some template from somewhere, they will have this I tag is there. They use some I tag, and in the I tag it will have the content for the icon. So see, for example, if it is Korak icon, this tag they use I class FA Quora. This code, if you just put it to your website, this icon will come up there, and you can also edit the colors. You can do anything to it.
Yeah.
It's not an image; it's a code. So you can change the thing as whatever you want. You can change the color, change the size. Anything can be done on this. So this is how you do. It's you have to install this first. You can either use a CDN. CDN is used like this, or you can download the file and put it in the folder. That there are multiple ways to use it. You can search up on the documentation and you'll know how to use it.
Adonia has recommended Google Fonts.
Oh yeah, Google Fonts.
Yeah.
Google Fonts will require a lot. You must be seeing some websites having very stylish fonts. You may be thinking how they got such fonts. Like if you go by default, there are only 5 to 6 fonts that are installed on your machine that you have the option to use. But Google Font gives this so much big, whatever designer fonts you want, you can search for it. Let's say I like this font. I want to use this font on my website. You just select this font. This gives you the embed option. Just copy this link and paste the link on the header tag. And in the CSS to the class which you want to apply this font, put this font family like this, Bangers cursive, and this font will come. So this helps you. You need to be connected to internet when you are using links which are on internet, or else you will have to download and put it the other way. But we prefer to keep this linking because it increases your loading time of servers.
Yeah, basically when the net is not there now, what happens is suppose this font is Bangers now. So in the font family, it is written as Bangers, comma cursive. So if your internet is not on, what it will do is it will give the cursive font. So which is the default font
cursive.
of CSS. Yeah.
Yeah, this I didn't know. Thanks, yeah. So what he says, Ed, was if your internet is not there and if you linked it to some internet fonts, it will take you to the default font family installed in your machine. So if you are mentioned cursive,
No, you can specify it.
No, you can specify it.
Yeah, so like
in this, you see now the font family Bangers, comma cursive is written.
Yeah,
see in the
CSS
CSS
rule
rule.
there. So you can put comma Open Sans. So Open Sans is the most widely used thing. So
Default
it is the
one.
basic one, default one. So we can
Yeah.
specify that.
even I have seen people using multiple fonts. Like you can
Yeah,
also
so
specify two
it
fonts.
depends which one loads first, that one will be seen. It's that way.
Yeah, it will search one by one. First one it checks, if it's not there, it will go to the second one and so on. So and usually people keep the last one to be some inbuilt font of Sans or Open Sans, which are obviously installed on your browsers by default. So it will, कुछ भी load नहीं होता वो तो load होएगा. That it works. So anyone, any doubts?
I don't know, I've not tried this, but I think when we like make a website and like when we are like not sure what color of font to use, does it help to convert it to grayscale to check like, अच्छे से जा रहा है?
That's good to separate it from the background, and then you can understand if it's standing out properly. But I've not seen a lot of people using it. I don't know, I've not tried it.
See, Sneha, this is why people go for designing first, UI, UX designing and prototype like Hari told. That is why it is used, because in the prototyping apps, it's like live editing. So you can see which color is suiting it there first. So you design the UI first and then you code for it. So when you're coming to coding, you already know which color needs to be put there to be seen properly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where UI helps. If you start to code, you can't just randomly try putting some hexacode and see which hexacode works the best. You can't do that. You need to be sure which color you're using, and then you can use that. Samuel, I downloaded MarkScript font on my laptop and linked it with HTML. The font works in Chrome but not on Safari. Why? Okay. Samuel, Safari, you used it on Mac OS? So that depends. That is because, see, there are multiple font families that are used. Like font can be a TTF, OTF, or else it can also, okay, he's like Chrome also on Mac OS. Okay, this I will have to check. I have not encountered with this issue. Something that can be the problem for this is
Samir, you should try using the CDN link.
Yes, this happens. That is why yesterday I told you about this browser stack thing. That is used for this. There are multiple browsers. All browsers doesn't support everything. They have their own set of features. So that's some animations also some animations are being worked on some browsers and not on the other browser. So this thing happens. So that's why they always do this cross-browser testing when they are making websites. So Samuel, if you want to solve this issue, you can use this web fonts. Google Fonts ka jo link tha, that is a web
the
font.
CDN.
Web
Yeah.
fonts has the most wide access. Fonts will be the most widely compatible fonts which can be used. Web font का file can also be downloaded. It is some web of WEBOFF type of font comes. That is also downloadable. So that you can use. If you try embedding fonts to your website, that is helps you much in compatibility.
And also you can embed YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Like you can go to embed and you can change the settings also there. Like what you want to autoplay it or you want to show controls. That also you can do on YouTube. Also you can do this embedding thing.
Anything else, guys?